Past 6 o'clock, and this is a regular meeting of the Historic Resources Board. I call this meeting together. This is this is not a working session other than working on it, but it's an actual one that there will be comments and there will be votes taken. Today we have 4 commissioners, myself, Jack McEnany. I'm covering for the chairman who's not here today, and also Lee Pinckney and Chris Hacker and Aaron Tobin. And we are assisted with representatives here of the Planning Department, which is the Deputy Director, Aaron Lennon, and the Preservation Planner, which is Christopher Loman. And we are represented by the Corporation Council by Jason Thomas. We have 2 items that we will be examining and will be asked to vote on. And we have so far 2 individuals who signed up who would like to make comments on the project. And the second one we'll discuss, which is on Mark Street. And we remind people that we keep our questions and comments relative to what the discussion is, and that please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less if you can. And we ask that you introduce yourself if you're an applicant and represent, speaking your name and who you're representing. Item number 1 is a project number 606, 126 State Street. The applicant is, Mr. Roman. I think I'll let you start on that.
Sure. Yep. So CIDC, in conjunction with BBL, is proposing to construct an addition of the south, on the south end of the existing structure. A portion of the parking lot will be located over 120 State, and then they'll have a large expansion. There is a demolition of the rear facade on Howard Street, which they're working with SHPO right now on the letter of agreement on the best way to handle that. The mitigative practice that was recommended by Weston is doing a full scan and a full documentation stuff that's there. So.
We are also online, and I'm not sure who, if anybody, is watching right now. Do we have a counter?
We don't have anybody attending virtually through Zoom, but it's also being live streamed on YouTube. So
we have a presentation, and would you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dan Hirschberg, Hirschberg & Hirschberg, and with me is Ken Surston, who's the architect for this project. He can do most of the talking. I'll go through it and lay it out for Ken to take over. The next slide, that shows the location, which I think we're all aware of where it is. That's State Street, and it backs up on Howard Street, and Lodge Street is east of the site. Next slide, that shows the existing conditions of the site. There's a parking lot, a building, another parking lot, and then 120 State Street adjoins the site on the north side, but it's not part of the project. 120 State Street is not part of the project. Okay, this is some pictures of the existing conditions. What you're seeing in the distance is Yeah. And next slide. This is the first picture of the site. I'm gonna let Ken take over. He's got handles all over the place.
Yep. So last time we were here, the board felt like our building was not substantial enough, and we talked about different items or elements that we could incorporate into the design. And one of the items that was brought up, I believe, by one of the members was maybe a glass facade. So we came up with some different options. We showed it to the client, and they actually liked the idea of the glass facade. So what we're doing is we have the courtyard. It's approximately 90 feet back from 126 State Street. We have we we've drawn some design inspiration from the existing Capitol Center. And, part of our project is also to remove a little part of the back building. So we're looking at salvaging some of that limestone that's on the back of the building, and we're either going to, donate it to Historic Albany, or we haven't talked to the contractor yet, but we may want to use it to do some of that banding that we have, the accent bands. We may try to reclaim some of it, salvage it, and use it on the front of our facade. So it'd be kind of a cool feature of our building. If you go to the next one, you can see, this is from looking across the street towards the project. So this is actually, a little artistic license here, as was discussed last time, where we've had to elevate the eye of the view because the road up there is pretty steep, and if we just did it from like grade or sitting in the car, you'd only see like the top half of the building. So there's the bridge and our walkway and our building. And we have some elevations, space brick, stucco, glazing. We have additional elevations at the other sides of the building. These are straight on views. And the renderings are a little bit easier to see. That's it. It's on the next page. And then just a section to show the relationship of the existing 126 tower and our building.
You mentioned the glass, different from what was originally presented at the workshop meeting.
Right, we had stucco on the original facade, and the board felt that the stucco, there weren't any other buildings on that strip or on that section of the State Street with stucco, so we switched over to glass, which is a little reminiscent of 90 State Street, right? And then we drew inspirations of those pilasters on the edge from the existing Capitol Center, and to be more substantive.
Were there any other major changes from when you?
Do you have any renderings of looking east of the drive of the parking lot? Looking east, so you see the back side and the side of 126.
I mean, we have an elevation, if you go back or forward.
Because you got windows on all three elevations, right?
Correct.
In that
Yes.
addition.
Yep.
So this is looking on, I'm standing on Howard Street here, looking
down the hill.
east, down the hill. I didn't understand that rendering with the,
That's if you're, looking, like you just parked in the parking structure,
Mhm.
right?
yeah.
The parking structure is kind of close.
Can you go to the slide before? Oh, no. I'm confused by this. Is this the new building?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
this is
And where am I standing
the
here?
south elevation along Howard.
But there's no street that goes
But-
there.
There's no sidewalk.
Howard is going this way.
So that car
It's
is on
the-
Howard?
There
This
is
is
no
the same.
place that that rendering was really made.
That's
Okay,
Because
so
he
that's
took
just
out
like
the
a
hill.
make-believe.
So
Yeah,
it
I
showed
said we
But
had
it
to
is like where Wendell Street is, like
this
looking
is
at.
Wendell.
So it's gonna go from looking like that to the other way.
Yeah, we have to elevate, otherwise you'd be looking at the asphalt. So we have to elevate the ivy.
You're looking north.
This is Howard, where this
Okay.
car
Howard
is,
is
this is
going
Howard
this way.
Wendell is
Street.
the parking garage, right? Like the ramp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lodge Street is on the right-hand side of that.
Like City Beer Hall is to
Is
my
like
right down the
here,
hill.
yeah.
Okay, so this is, okay.
This is like where the parking lot is, where you would park if you went to the beer hall.
Yes, I parked there.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I just don't remember Wendell Street being so substantive.
It's not really.
Okay, that's why I was confused.
It looks
We also took
Yeah.
the liberty of taking the county structure down too. The part that defunct parking garage.
Okay. All right.
I make a motion that we approve the counselor that we approve the project, the certificate of appropriateness for the rehabilitation and reuse of this site.
Who's the second?
I'll second.
That's it. That's it, right?
Yeah, okay, I was confused what the question was.
Seconded.
Aaron.
Are there any further discussions? Seeing none, we have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Way to go, Ken.
Thank you.
Night.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
See you later, Brandon.
Moving along then to item number 2, which is project 586 on 245 through 247 Larch Street. The applicant is In Our Own Voices, and speaking for them, they can identify themselves, and then I'm going to let Mr. Lohman discuss it, and then we'll ask your comments.
Danny Sanders, Harris Sanders Architects, as the architect for In Our Own Voices renovation and addition to the building. And Dan Hirschberg, the civil engineer.
Thank you.
So, yeah, the current proposal is, so yeah, it's for the construction of a 2-story, roughly 2,300 square foot building addition. The only thing, just to remind the commission, is that we do have people signed up for public comment. So once we're involved in our discussion, we'll have the public comment period. Please try not to make a motion before that, so we make sure that the public is addressed as well.
So this is the site of the existing In Our Own Voices, and they have recently purchased the building just to the south. So we'll get to that. Dan can, there's really not too much to say. Those are the two, that's the existing building, and there's the addition. So again, In Our Own Voices currently is in the sort of 3-story building to the north, and then on the south, they just purchased the 1-story, and then that steps up. There's that red line denotes the addition area. There's a parking lot, I should say, just to the south. And as you can see, just before you change, it's kind of a unique building In Our Own Voices in that it's got a stepped roof line, and then it steps down to the back as well. So we'll get into that a little bit. So the elevations, the existing elevation in the lower left corner is pretty much going to stay intact. There's a commercial second floor, sort of a mezzanine area on 247, and 245 is the historic building where In Our Own Voices is currently having where they have their headquarters, and there are apartments upstairs behind them that are being maintained. The addition is to the rear of the, I'll just let that pass for a second. The addition is to the back of the existing building, a 2-story wood frame addition. We did not want to take away from the masonry, so we went with hardy surface, hardy cementitious panel that's prevalent in any sided building along Larch Street and in Center Square. The entrance doorways are prevalent on the first floor only, and on the second floor there are double hung windows, which are consistent with the double hung windows that are In Our Own Voices right now.
Let me ask you, Dan, how is those, is there a path from Lark Street to those,
It's an
entrance
entrance
doors? Entry
off
doors?
of the parking lot. They're
Off the
going
parking
to,
lot.
have an easement, I think,
Okay.
yes, so that is
Plan
already,
shows an easement over a portion of the parking lot for ingress and egress, and also a portion of the parking lot they can use during construction as a place to store stuff and access the building.
So they would have right of way if people wanted to go in and out there.
Yeah.
correct. And there is a, community room that's available. And as far as the floor plan, thank you, the lower level, is currently at the plan, at the, top of the sheet is existing, in our own voices, and the building that they recently purchased was a, retail space on the lower level where it says the word corridor in that sort of taupe area, thank you. And mechanical storage areas will all be maintained. That corridor area will be now some counseling space for the non-for-profit. And then as you go through the building, we are putting an elevator addition to the rear of the existing building. There will be a corridor link back to the community room. And those 3 doors are shown at the bottom of the plan right there, going into a community space, an entrance and exit where the gray door area is. And then there would be for their pantry, access into the third door in the middle. So again, that would all be through the easement of, from the parking lot. But there's a mostly internal circulation through the building. The elevator lobby right there in the middle of the building, and that provides handicap access to the second level, which is really the first floor, which is the next slide. We can get back to that if you'd like. Okay, so the second level features 2 spaces. One of those is the purple space on the facing Lark Street, which again was part of recent use. I don't recall the latest, but that was the second floor retail as well. And then some transit office space, the gray, the beige, and then back to the rear section of the building, which is a prominent part of the project, having 4 apartments, studio, and 1 one-bedroom. And those are through in our own voices as apartments, transient housing, and that's within their purview of their services. Office space to the north.
So the elevator is already there?
Nope.
Okay, so that's part of the new.
Yep, the elevator's new, that provides handicap access through the whole building. It's a very historic staircase you see at the north end right there. It's beautiful, it's being maintained. And then there's the winding stair within the apartments that are now gonna be converted to an office space, and then maintained. Apartment 1 would be maintained towards the front of the building, overlooking the roof of the second floor, of the first floor, I should say.
It is existing, right?
Correct. And the offices are all existing. As we get to the third floor, there's an existing apartment up there right now that's being maintained. And that's pretty much the scope of the project.
Do you consider the south elevation, thank you, you consider, that's a very important elevation because it's a major entry, don't you think?
I don't.
Or you don't, so it's just.
Sorry, I'm treating it as more of a background elevation to the brick, and in terms of the economics, I think, we are providing hardy siding, which is consistent, but it's a blank wall right now, and the building is really accessed prominently from the front.
Okay.
And you walk through.
I didn't know whether you thought the entrances needed a little bit more glamour. You know how entrances are, tend to be. And even though it's on the side
They could have
elevation.
a side light or something more, but again, I really think the building is accessed mainly from the front. There's a control element that you can't just walk in. You have to go through a security desk. There's, a lot of sensitive manner going on in a building like this. I don't know if anyone needs to know that, but I can express
It
it.
allows a secondary access.
And egress, right? So basically, it's a private, more of a private
I got you.
access.
I got you.
Like to be code compliant, so.
We
that they
need the
have-
egress, yes.
Yeah.
And the egress will allow us to take the, anyone in those community spaces out of the building into a safe, or parking area, which is away from any.
When I looked at it, first thing I thought is, this is for fire exit.
Yes.
Emergency exit, and
No, it's not.
not as a normal place.
Again, you have to go through, I even go through every time with security, at the front desk.
Okay.
There is not, it does provide handicap accessibility, which is not provided in the building right now at the front, because it's a historic stoop stair.
One good thing is that from Lark Street, you don't see it.
No.
Not unless you go further
Right.
south and see the parking lot, you can see it, but directly at it, it's, the addition is hidden.
Pretty much.
I never realized, of course, I go back to when it was visiting nurses. It has the lawn in the front. But apparently, the building to the south of it originally had a lawn in front as well. And then that wall was turned into the art gallery that was there.
Right.
It was just 2 stories tall. So originally, there were 2 lawns there, one wider than the other. It's interesting, I've never
So they were in the same plane, essentially, on Large Street.
never thought of it that way, because to me, the only one with the front lawn was the old visiting nurses. And has this land just been purchased by the,
Yes.
Are you doing anything to the front walls?
No, and they're going to just be painting the 245. If it's been about 7 years, we actually did a facade renovation with window repair and replacement a number of years ago when there was a facade grant that they were able to get. But that's hopefully the matching colors would be, I mean, that's the closest we can get to the actual colors.
Do you remember I worked with you on that?
Yes. We're not supposed to talk about that. No, it's fine, it's all good. Yeah, so that was part of the facade grant. Dave Almond actually was the contractor. But there's the prominent stoop, and then there's this, the green door that's between, that goes into like an alleyway, that's also being maintained, and the basement access is being maintained as well.
there's a pass-through alleyway in
In the middle of the building? Yeah, between the 2 buildings.
Yes.
That's why that window.
2 buildings jog back and there's an alleyway between them.
Yeah, you go right in, and it's with 2 stories built above it.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments? Essentially, there's no real changes going on from the facade facing Lark Street.
No.
Public comment.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna call you up, we'll call you up. Do you have a list?
Yeah, we will not vote until after we purchase.
I'm sorry.
No,
Very
you're fine.
clear.
Okay, and you're together, so we.
Yeah, Dan, do
Yeah,
you guys
why don't
wanna?
you come up here, you'll be more comfortable than sitting on the table. And how are you? Shelley Costco and Amy Costco.
So this is kind of funny, I didn't know about this. We own 206 Lancaster, and the only way we can get to the backyard is actually through in our own voice. So we have, like, bringing construction materials and gonna remove like bags of debris, we have to, contact in our own voices. I have a good relationship with Tom Brown, and we're actually just talking about a little cleanup, because there's like junk leaning on the building. She's like, oh, by the way, we bought a building, and she's like, and we might build a permanent wall. What? So that's one question. There's no way, if there's an emergency, there's a permanent wall, if there's a gate there's a gate between our you go through our own voices, and then there's this mysterious gate, that's our property. There's no way, like if the front of our building is on fire, basically everyone will be trapped in the yard, they will not be able to get out if there's any kind of permanent structure, so we're extremely concerned. But in general, if you think about it, let's say we change the deck or something, we're gonna bring decking materials or debris through a tenant's apartment, that we need to have that access, and also we mentioned construction and access, and I'm thinking, will that still even be there, that path? Will be blocked out by material, like I wanna know what's gonna happen. My husband has a question about water, he has some other questions, but I'm just thinking, what's gonna happen to that path? Do you know what I'm talking about? The front door, there's a path, and then off to the right, there's a gate.
So you look at the plan at the back of the property, 206 Lancaster. There is a marked gate to the in our own boss's property. Not 100% sure if there is an easement there, but there might be. And basically, there is that's a evacuation route for that building, for fire escape and out. And we would like to make sure that is still available. That and on the plan there is I think the water line, the mains will be moved, if I understand this correctly. We just want to make sure that during the construction,
Where's your building at? Where's your
So-
building at?
206 Lancaster.
It's weird that it shares that path, but.
I just want to clarify, this should be 206 Lancaster, right?
Yes.
You guys can. Towards the front of their building.
So
But
is
that's
the
not
access through the front yard?
They
Yes.
have, yes.
Oh,
it's
so
very
the addition
important.
is in the rear, the front of the property, unless they're doing
It shouldn't,
something.
she just said something over the phone. It was just, oh, by the way, Shelley, like, what? I go, you can, oh no, she told my husband.
Here's where the addition is going, you're all the way over here.
I don't know
Right,
why she,
but-
that's what I'm asking.
But what the discussion was as a part of this, there will be a fence change built. That will basically will be running along where the properties meet, and there is also there will be water line movement on the Lark Street.
So can I just, does this go before the planning board?
No,
This feels
so
like
this
it's
is
not-
a minor application, so it's being circulated to other city departments, but it does not go before the planning board.
So this feels like it's far outside of our purview.
Correct, and it
Okay.
sounds like if there's any concern about access to private property from another private property, that would be something that would need to be discussed with, in our own voices to make sure, and if there is some sort of easement, it would most likely be reflected on the deeds of the property, that there is a standing easement. But that would need to be discussed within our own voices, and it sounds like if this is your property here, the
Yes.
addition is in the rear here, so whatever is happening, that's
Yeah,
being
with-
considered this evening in front of the Historic Resources Commission should not impact your property. I would reach back out to Inner Own Voices and have a discussion about what she had reached out to you about.
Yeah, I mean, she's very nice about it, but I'd like to talk to like the architect maybe, and she's like, oh no, we're not gonna block you, but like, let me get official.
Well, actually, how many backyards are there on Lancaster that have the same situation?
So
It's gotta be a few.
so looking at map geo, there's the 204 and 206, which are on the front, and then the 3 properties to the rear would be 220, 218, and 216, which all fully abut the backside of the
They don't go
property.
through, I thought there was a way to get through, there's like a kind of parking garage, I thought
That's
that's,
exactly what that allows.
no, but that's how they would get out, so they would be stuck, because there's an open area at the end of the block.
Yeah, with all of those, Chris, they all go towards an alley.
Right, so they can get out, you're saying.
So what separates your property from their property?
A fence.
A fence?
Yeah,
Kind of
with the
fence?
gate, with the gate.
A wooden fence
Yes.
or
Yes.
how tall is it?
It's about 5 feet.
No, I think it's like 8 feet, it's taller than this.
And we'll just note the
I
timer that went
saw
off before was the public
Was the
comment.
3
Timer.
minute time.
There's a 3-minute limit on public comment.
But I would reach out to In Our Own Voices and have a discussion with them. But yeah, this addition should not impact at least access to your property.
Aaron, I'm just gonna put on the record Jen's.
Yes.
So Commissioner Garrity had emailed and noted that this project, because of the small amount of acre disturbance, doesn't have any requirement for archaeological surveying. She did ask if the commission would like to consider a condition on approval, possibly of, stated the applicant would notify the city of any of the following features during construction: evidence of human remains, evidence of foundation, roofs, wells, or infrastructure built with construction materials or techniques not commonly used during the last 50 years, and or evidence of railroad construction, canals, dams, or locks. Would immediately ask the applicant to notify the city so proper mitigation can take place.
Is there any opportunity for questions on the floor or?
Sure.
Well,
The
I would
board
say
chair,
if
it's
the,
up to you.
yeah.
See no reason why you couldn't have your 3 minutes.
I have a question if
If you-
anybody wants to take a crack at it.
Sir, if you could come up and state your name so that we have it on record.
Yeah, come up to the hot seat, man.
Just need to state your name and address.
This is a certificate, we're supposed to be talking about the appropriateness of the
Would you-
project.
Would you give your name and address first? And then we'll, just for the.
What is the building gonna be used for? We wanna know what the,
We need your name and address for the record, sir.
excuse me,
Your name and address.
Dr. Michael Gursky, 210 Lancaster Street.
Thank you.
This is basically adjacent to my backyard. And it just, to me, I've been there for 60 years and I don't understand what the purpose of that building would be, what it would add to the only thing it would add, as far as I could tell, is there'd be more, there's no explanation for what it would be used for, I guess is what bothers me most. They said they want to build a 2-story addition. What is it for? Does anybody know?
So the property is currently at 245, is currently used by In Our Own Voices. They provide community services and support.
Well, I know what they do
And
because they're,
and I am answering your
my
question.
backyard
Sir.
is right next to IO, so I live there, so I'm aware of what goes on.
Yep.
What the purpose of 245 is.
So
What is the purpose of 247 addition?
245, the services that are provided in 245 are expanding into the building at 247.
Could you, what services do they
So
provide?
they will be
That they
having,
need another 2-story building?
so they will be providing a community room for community events, not only for the their membership, but for the community to use. They will be providing a pantry, a food pantry, so for those that are food insecure, they have access to food. They will have additional counseling services, so offices for additional counseling services. And they are providing, 1-bedroom and studio apartments
For what?
for individuals that are housing insecure or on house at the moment.
Are you saying it's going to be a mini shelter for the people who don't have somewhere to look to, they don't have any housing? Is that what you're saying?
Don't believe so, no.
What are the apartments for?
It's for people that receive services from In Our Own Voices.
But not the people that are getting the services? People that are providing the services will live there,
No, people
or?
that are receiving services from In Our Own Voices.
I don't know,
It's not a mission.
No,
I'm not sure
they
that.
already currently have 2 apartments.
I'm not sure that area, where that building is going to be is for what they're.
Thank you for your
Thank you for
comments. So
comments.
that time was,
So
everyone's
I
limited
just
to
want
3 minutes for
this
public
board
comment.
to know that I've spoken with a lot of my neighbors. I know everybody on my block. And there seemed, I was told, I was reluctant to even mention this, but there are people in my block that believe that this building is gonna go up to be a homeless shelter. That's what the word is out on the street. You ought to know that if you're gonna decide whether it's appropriate or not to have this building there, what it's gonna be used for.
Thank you for your comments. Your 3 minutes are up. The Historic Resources Commission does not review the use of a building. We are only reviewing the architectural aesthetics to make sure that they are compliant with the historic district. But thank you, sir. Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir,
If the use of the building that you're proposing is not appropriate, why should?
The use of a building does not.
Why shouldn't you stop it at this point?
Does not fall under the purview of the Historic Resources Commission. And your 3 minutes are up. So thank you for your comments, and we will be moving on.
I guess, I don't have anything else to say. I mean, you know where I'm,
Yep.
quote, you know where I'm coming from? As a person who lives in, right there.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
We're calling the architect and the engineer back up. Thank you.
So do you want to add on that?
No, I'm not sure if the woman who was concerned about the gate or anything I don't know if she knew where the addition was going and what the access was, so I don't need to really respond to that. So no, I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Our jurisdiction here in historic preservation is, we know it's somewhat residential, it's somewhat community gathering space. We know they don't have enough square footage and they want to add it. And it will be office space. It's everything that's going on there now in the adjoining building and the building they've just taken.
I may just add, I believe they are relocating an office and several personnel from another area to be in their new home. And that's what they consider this.
Yeah.
Who would be the best? What would be
Tandra
the best?
would be the one to speak to.
Mhm.
The executive director
Yeah,
to find out.
regarding this gentleman's issues.
Tandra, or you can go on their website, I'm sure.
It's a valid issue, but
Right.
it's not a mission.
Correct.
He's the spokesperson for a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, the
So
appropriate contact.
there's a lot of people that are angry, they just need to have some clarification.
So the appropriate contact for anybody who wishes to discuss directly the use of it, would recommend to contact the executive director of Inner Voices.
Ready for a motion?
I believe the commission is in a position where they can, in their own jurisdiction, can vote one way or the other on it, and I wonder if there's a motion to approve what's been proposed to us.
I'll move to approve with the archaeological notification stipulation as read by Mr. Lumen.
Sure, so the stipulation that Commissioner Tobin is referring to would be that the applicant must notify the city if any of the following three features are discovered during construction: evidence of human remains, evidence of foundations, roofs, wells, or infrastructure built with construction materials or techniques not commonly used during the last 50 years, and or evidence of railroad structures, canals, dams, or locks.
I second the motion.
There's no further discussion, we have a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
May I make a comment sort of off the record?
Sure.
Possibly the term certificate of appropriateness should be reviewed in terms of its definition, if that makes sense. Maybe the commission discuss that at some point, maybe certificate of historic appropriateness or something, because it seems to have been taken in
It's a
vague manner.
it's a
Again.
national term associated with
I know,
conservation
I know.
movement, so.
It just came to me, so I
Yeah.
just figured I would say it. Been here for 30 years,
Yeah.
I know what you do, but
To
I really thought of it.
To
Yeah.
clarify for everybody that we're not determining appropriate use or not,
Correct.
but strictly speaking about the buildings.
Yeah.
All right. There's
Thank
no-
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no further, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you.
So when do we get ready?